We don't need no God no more. We don't need.
So why are you atheists so angry? This is a question on a lot of people's minds these days. In the last few years, the atheist movement has moved into overdrive. We've become much more visible, much more vocal, much more activist, much better organized, and much less apologetic. And this increased visibility is putting atheist anger into the spotlight. And a lot of non-atheists are really baffled and disconcerted at what they see as a sudden torrent of atheist anger from apparently out of nowhere. I know, if only they knew. And frankly, a lot of atheists ourselves are not sure what to do with this atheist anger, either with the anger itself or with the perception of our movement as a fundamentally angry one. And so today I want to talk about atheist anger. Okay, so first of all, I need to point out, not all atheists are angry about religion. Now, most atheists I've known do have some anger about some of the specific ways that religion plays out in the world, but the atheist movement, the atheist community is very diverse. And one of the things that we differ about most is how we feel about religion. You know, many atheists would be perfectly happy to coexist with religion as long as religion was happy to coexist with us. Other atheists have a more confrontational attitude towards religion. They, or perhaps I should say we think that there are qualities in the very nature of religion that make peaceful coexistence unlikely, and we are actively engaged in trying to persuade people out of it. And in fact, one of the things that I find most interesting about this whole angry atheist image that the current atheist movement has is that atheists are often seen as angry and confrontational, disrespectful and intolerant and bigoted simply for existing and simply for being open about who we are. When atheist groups simply put up billboards saying, "You can be good without God," or "Don't believe in God, you are not alone," people go cuckoo bananas. It's actually, ironically, one of the things that make those billboard campaigns so successful is that they generate a lot of media attention. Hammett on the Friendly Atheist blog keeps a record of the different atheist billboard and bus ad campaigns and people's responses to them. And the frequency with which people just really freak out about them, or even vandalize them, or try to get them taken down, succeed in getting them taken down, succeed in getting stopped altogether, it's really astonishing. And so when you hear all this talk about all these angry atheists, it's really important to remember this. You know, yes, absolutely, some atheists are angry about religion. Many atheists are angry about religion. But this image that people have of the atheist movement is this raging mob with torches and pitchforks who want to burn down all the houses of worship and personally dig up Jesus Christ so we can crucify him all over again. Really, I know, that would be awesome, but, but really, this image of us is not warranted. It's really important to remember that atheists get pegged as angry and confrontational simply for existing and simply for being open about who we are. And I also think it's really important to point this out. Those atheists among us who are angry about religion, it's not like we're angry all the time. It's not like we're in a constant state of rage. I mean, I definitely and proudly count myself as an angry atheist. And yet, most of the time, I'm not an angry person. Most of the time, I'm actually a very happy person. Ask anybody I know. There's lots of people here who know me pretty well. Ask them, is Greta? But there are things about religion that I'm angry about, and that other atheists are angry about, and I do think that that anger is valid. A lot of people are asking these days, why are you atheists so angry? And a lot of these people seem to have never considered the possibility that a lot of atheists are angry because we legitimately have things to be angry about. I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about why, specifically, many atheists are angry. Or rather, because I don't, in fact, presume to speak for the entire atheist movement, I want to talk about why I'm angry. And based on my experiences in writing and speaking, a lot of my anger is anger that a lot of atheists share. I'm angry that, according to a recent Gallup poll, only 45% of Americans would vote for an atheist for president. I'm angry that it took until 1961 for atheists to be guaranteed the right to serve on juries, testify in court, or hold public office in every state in this country. I mean, I was born in 1961. It wasn't that long ago. And in 1961, the year I was born, my parents, who were non-believers, were not guaranteed the right to serve public office, serve on a jury, or testify in court in every state in this country, and that pisses me off. I'm angry that atheists in the United States are frequently denied custody of their children explicitly on the basis of their atheism. And that's not in 1961. That's not the year I was born. That's happening now. Judges deny custody of children to atheists explicitly because they are atheists. I'm angry on behalf of the atheist blogger in Iran who told me that they have to blog anonymously because if they're discovered, they'll be executed. I'm angry that school boards all across this country are still, 80+ years after the Scopes trial, still having to spend time and money and resources on the battle to teach evolution in the public schools. School boards, in case you haven't noticed, are not exactly loaded with time and money and resources. And the time and money and resources they're spending fighting this stupid fight is time and money and resources that they're not spending teaching. And in a similar vein, I'm angry that science teachers in this public schools often don't teach evolution, even when teaching it is permitted and indeed required by their school. Because, or they either don't teach it or they give it only a cursory mention because they don't want to start angry arguments with fundamentalist parents of kids. You know, they don't want to start a controversy. I mean, evolution is the foundation of the science of biology. Biology literally does not make sense without it. And kids who aren't being taught the theory of evolution are being deprived of one of the most fundamental ways that human beings have learned to understand ourselves and our place in the world. I'm angry that people are dying of AIDS in Africa and South America because the Catholic Church convinced them that using condoms makes baby Jesus cry. I'm angry at preachers who tell women in their flock to submit to their husbands because it's the will of God, even when those husbands are beating them within an inch of their lives. I'm angry that the belief in karma and reincarnation gets used as a justification for the caste system in India. Yeah. I'm angry that people who are born into poverty and despair are taught that it's their fault, that they must have done something really bad in a previous life, and the misery that they were born into is their fault. I'm angry that people in Africa are being terrorized, driven from their homes, maimed, tortured, and killed over accusations of witchcraft. Not in the Middle Ages, not in the 1600s. Today, actual literal witch hunts are happening today. I'm angry that so many parents and religious leaders terrorize children with vivid, traumatizing stories of eternal burning and torture to ensure that they will be too terrified to even question religion. I'm angry that children get taught by religion to hate and fear their bodies and their sexuality. And I'm especially angry that girl children are taught to hate and fear their femaleness, and that queer children are taught by religion to hate and fear their queerness. I'm angry that in fundamentalist Mormon polygamous cults, girls are raised from birth to believe that they will be tormented for eternity in the afterlife if they don't marry whatever man they are told to marry by their preacher. In most cases when they're teenagers. In some cases as young as age 13. In some cases younger. And I'm angry that in the non-fundamentalist, non-polygamous, entirely mainstream Mormon church, girls are raised from birth to believe that they'll be tormented for eternity in the afterlife if they don't marry, bear lots of children, and be obedient to their husbands. and that queer children are raised from birth to believe that they will be tormented for eternity in the afterlife if they don't suppress and deny their sexuality. And on a related topic, I'm angry that in Salt Lake City, Utah, 40% of all homeless teenagers are gay. Most of them kids who have been kicked out of their house by their Mormon parents. Yeah, that's some really great family values you guys got there. I'm angry that in public, taxpayer-paid high schools around the country, and this is in the United States, atheist students who are trying to organize clubs, something they're legally allowed to do, by the way, are routinely getting stonewalled by school administrations. Talk to JT and if you want to find out more about that, talk to JT Eberhard and to the Secular Student Alliance people. They'll tell you more about it than you ever wanted to hear because it sucks. I'm angry about the girl in the Muslim family who was told, and this is in her school, in her public taxpayer-paid school, by her teacher, by her public taxpayer-paid teacher, that the red stripes on Christmas candy cane represented Christ's blood, that she had to believe in and be saved by Jesus Christ or she'd be condemned to hell, and that if she didn't convert, there was no place for her in his classroom. Yeah. I'm angry. Okay, anger is not the word here. I am enraged at priests who rape children and tell them that it's God's will. I'm angry at the Catholic Church that consciously, deliberately, repeatedly, for years, acted to protect these priests who raped children, and deliberately acted to keep it a secret. I'm angry that they placed the church's reputation as a higher priority than, for fuck's sake, children not being raped. I'm angry about 9/11. And I'm angry that after 9/11 happened, people of Middle Eastern descent were attacked and their businesses were vandalized because they were Muslim, or because they were believed to be Muslim even if they weren't, and people blamed all Muslims for the attacks. And I'm angry that after 9/11 happened, Jerry Falwell blamed 9/11 on, let me get this list right, pagans, abortionists, feminists, gays and lesbians, the ACLU, and the People for the American Way. That covers pretty much everybody here, right? It sounds funny, and it sounds funny because it is funny, but it also makes me furious. I mean, this theology, this whack job theology, this theology of this wrathful God who's exacting revenge against pagans and abortionists by sending fundamentalist Muslims to fly an airplane into a building full of secretaries and investment bankers. I mean, this was not some fringe theology. This was not a theology held by some bizarro out there with a dozen followers picketing funerals. This was a theology held by a powerful, widely respected religious leader with millions of followers. I'm angry that the Bamyan Buddha statues in Afghanistan, these magnificent, monumental works of art over 1,500 years old, were dynamited by the Taliban because they were idols, and because idolatry was considered to be an affront to God's law. I'm angry that little girls are getting their clitorises cut off because their parents' religion teaches that it's necessary. And I'm angry that many people try to defend religion against the charge of female genital mutilation by saying, oh, but that's not what the religion really teaches. If you look at what the original text says, this is being misinterpreted. Like I care. The reality is that the Islamic religion, as it is actually widely believed and practiced, and not just the Islamic religion, but other religions as well, this teaching is not restricted to Islam alone, that religions, as they are actually believed and practiced in the real world, teach that little girls' clitorises have to get cut off. And I am enraged that people respond to this by defending the religion and not the children.